Success is different for different people. But whatever it is to you, you must be successful. Each one of us must be. And we have looked at some of the things we have to do. I will just rehearse some of the things we've already said, and then I will plunge into my message for today. We said that for us to be successful, God has invested in us, and He's invested six things into our lives to help us to be successful. First, He invested life, He's invested time, He's invested gifts, talents, abilities, He's invested His grace, He's invested His promises, and He's invested opportunities into each one of us. Throughout your life, you have these assets working for you. You have life, and the fact that you're here shows that you have life. You have time. You will have gifts. Each one of us has some gift. The grace of God will abound towards you because God is no respecter of persons. And God's promises are available to us, and He would always give us opportunities. Even when we are trapped in a place where we feel that there is no way out, He will give us an opportunity to get out. God is a God of opportunities. However, when He gives us opportunities, we must identify them and we must use them. We also said earlier that God has given each one of us an independent will, a guiding conscience, and freedom of choice. So although success is good, it is still a choice. And we said that success is not a destination, it is a journey. It is a journey you embark on. You never end. You keep going and going and going. If you arrive at a point where you feel you have become successful and you have arrived and there is nothing else before you, you will start on the path of failure. Because at every point in your life, there must be something you are living for, and something you are looking forward to, and something you hope to achieve. Even when you are 90 years old, you must have something in front of you. It has been said that most people, after they retire from work, deteriorate in life and die very quickly. A lot of people within the next 5 years after they've retired die. And the reason is not because of sickness, it's because of boredom, having nothing to do and having nothing to look forward to. When you have nothing to do and nothing to look forward to, your life deteriorates, it atrophies, and it goes lower and lower. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 10 has an instruction there that is useful for our discussion on success. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 10, and it reads, "If the axe is dull and one does not sharpen the edge, then he must use more strength. But wisdom brings success." Very profound statement. What does it teach us? It teaches us important fact about success, that success is more a product of wisdom than of physical strength. Success is more a product of wisdom than of physical strength. Physical hard work is important, but mental hard work is more important. Working with your mind is more important than working with your physical strength. Many times when I listen to people, sometimes politicians, sometimes social commentators, talk about some of the difficulties we have in Ghana, they urge the youth to go back to the land and farm as part of the way of moving this nation forward. We keep telling the youth must go back to the farm, people must go to the farm, and people must go to the village. And yes, there is some value in farming, but 70% of Ghanaians are farmers. And yet, we are not able to fully take care of ourselves and our physical needs. 2.5% of Americans are farmers. Yet they are able to provide the food needs of the United States of America, be able to save food stocks for about 30 years, be able to export food and donate food freely. It is not the physical strength and the quantity of people, it is the knowledge and wisdom we use in our work that matters. Success is not in quantities, it's quality. We don't need many farmers in Ghana. As a matter of fact, we need to reduce the number of farmers we have. We need quality farmers. Just 5% of the people who will do a quality work, not 70% of the people who would use old, outdated, antiquated, dilapidated, discarded methods of farming, which only fed a simple village, but has no capacity of feeding a metropolitan society. And until the knowledge base changes, we will apply a lot of strength and achieve very little. But wisdom produces success. Success is not a product of physical hard work. It is a product of wisdom. That's why the Bible says, in all you're getting, get wisdom. It's not how hard you work. There are so many sincere, hard-working people who achieve very little for their lives or with their lives because the base of knowledge, the stock of knowledge they are using is very, very rudimentary. We have so far identified 7 signposts on our pathway to success. And as I said, there are 21 of them I'm going to teach on. We've dealt with 7. Today I will continue. The 7 we have dealt with so far. Number 1 is a suitable posture. Posture is your attitude. Success is a product of your attitude. There are some attitudes that are not suitable for success. You must have a suitable posture. And we've talked a lot about that. You must have a definite purpose. You must have clear perspectives, your vision. You must have a desirable prize, something that you want to do that inspires you, that is desirable. You must have inspiring passion. You must have mental precision. And you must have deep-seated principles. Number 8, the 8th signpost on the pathway to success is objective priorities. Objective priorities. The interesting thing as you look at a concept like success is that so many ingredients produce one effect called success. It's almost like making a soup. In Ghana, we have different kinds of soup. We have garden egg soup. We have a groundnut soup. We have palm nut soup. We have green soup. And other exotic soups. Now, when you are making palm nut soup, although you call it palm nut soup, the ingredients in a palm nut soup are more than palm nut soup or palm nut. You have other things that make a palm nut soup palm nut soup. And that is how success is like. There's so many other ingredients that come into the play. And yes, sometimes you can get palm nut soup and there is palm nut soup, depending on the ingredients and the mixture and the timing. There is some palm nut soup that is cooked. When you leave it aside for about 30 minutes after it's been cooked, there will be a separation of the waters from the waters, according to the Bible. And you would see that something has happened. It's palm nut soup. but it was mixed in a certain way that produced that effect. There are some that are thick, some are light, some are more spicy, whatever. And that's how success is like. We all can have the same ingredients, but we may mix them differently and we get different results. And that's why I'm giving you all the ingredients, and I'm hoping that you will mix them in the right proportions. All right. Priorities. Objective priorities. Matthew chapter 13, verses 45 to 46. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking beautiful pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and brought it. 3 words are very important for priorities. Number 1 is importance. Number 2 is timing. Number 3 is readiness. When we say that we are setting priorities, it means that we are determining what is more important than the other. You can have 10 things that are important, but of the 10, something must be more important. You can have 50 things to do in a day, but which one is more important? And when you discover what is important, then you are discovering priority. But priority is also about timing, because you allocate time according to importance and readiness. If you are not ready for something, you don't jump to do it. You have to be prepared in order to act. So it's important that we prioritize all the things we want to do, especially when you are desperately poor and you're trying to prosper. Everything is important for you because you're coming so far from behind. And if you're not careful, you become what is called a jack of all trades, master of nothing. You do everything that you have to do, but there's no order of importance. Objective priorities are crucial to success. How do you do that? You do that by first setting an order of value and importance. Set an order of value and importance. What is more important to you to do at this time in your life? For example, if a person is in secondary school, what is important? What is priority? Priority is not marriage. Priority is not relationship. Priority is education. So if you are a wise student, you don't go and have a boyfriend or a girlfriend at 16 years. Yes, there will come a time for you to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but at this time, your priority is to get good grades. Now, if you are not careful and you make friendship your priority at that time, you will miss the most important things you have to achieve in life. When you are grown, you are in your 30s, your priority is not friendship. Your priority should be career development. So you spend your time developing career, not spending your time seeing friends. Because sometimes we get our priorities wrong. What is most important for you at every time changes with the time. So set an order of value and importance. Use time and resources strategically. Strategically. That means that the amount of time you allocate to the things you do should be proportionate to their importance and value to you. So I don't know what what is important to you now, but look at how you allocate your time. If football is important to you now, give all your time to it. But you have to always remember, what do I gain from the investment of time I am giving to this or that? Because time is one of the most perishable commodities God has given to us. When it passes, you can't recover it. It's gone. If you spend 30 minutes watching television, you cannot get the same 30 minutes to do something else. So you have to be strategic. Pleasure may not be your priority now. Entertainment may not be your priority now. Relaxation, recreation may not be your priority now. Your priority now may be to pass that exam. And if that is your priority, strategically allocate your time to pass that exam and pass it well. So use time and resources strategically. Other resources in your life may be your money. What do you invest your time with? What priorities? You can always tell what people consider important by how they spend their money. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Look at your spending pattern. It tells you what is important. For some people, physical appearance is more important to them, so they spend the majority of their money on physical appearance. Some people, mental development is more important, so they spend their money on mental development. Some people, building a business is more important, so they invest in business. So what is important to you? Food? All right. In order to set priorities, you must break down your vision into clear steps. Break down your vision into clear steps. It's always good to have a big vision, but sometimes a big vision can be your biggest problem. When you have a big vision and you don't know how to achieve the big vision, you will live in a fantasy world. There are people who are always talking big but never doing anything because they have a big vision, but that vision is not being broken down into clear steps. When you break your vision down, for example, you want to set up a big company, you have to break down all the activities and take the one closest to you. And the one closest to you maybe is to get a name for your company. It doesn't cost money. It doesn't take capital. Maybe to go and register your business. Maybe to take time and write down your business ideas. These are steps you take and they don't cost money. Now, if you sit down and your business is to set up, your vision is to set up a big business, and you now allow capital or lack of money to become a hindrance to you, you may never take any step towards your vision. So break it down. If you break it down, it's easy to solve. That is what mathematicians do. They break down a problem. And when they break it down, the solution emerges at the bottom. If you can break it down, you have the answer to what you're looking for. Every huge vision has got small components. So look for those small components and break them down. And every step you take in your order of priority must build momentum as you go along. Momentum means that if you take one step, it should urge you to take the next step. You don't take a step that brings you to a dead end. You take a step that helps you to a next achievable step. Each step must build momentum. It must help you to build. Yes, you set up, you write your company name. The next thing is you go and see a few people who are doing the kinds of things you're doing. That is achievable. You're building momentum. The next thing is you have some ideas, you have some paperwork there. The next thing is that you're going to register. Next thing you're going to do that. Next thing you're going to do that. So every step leads you to another step. Every step must lead to another step. Sometimes we take big steps, and after we've taken them, we come to a dead end because the second step was not available. It was not properly thought through. And when you do that, you lose momentum. And if there's anything you need in life, it is called momentum. Don't forget momentum. What is momentum? Have you tried pushing a car which is stuck before? In Ghana, it happens all the time. When a car is stuck and you are pushing it, and you put your hand behind the car and start pushing, it's so difficult to move it the first time. But after you move it, it starts moving slower, easier and easier. And now the tires themselves are in motion. It's called momentum. They build momentum. And after some time, you start running and pushing at the same time. It's like when you are opening a very tight screw. The first effort to move makes the rest easier. And you move and move. That's momentum. So every step you take, most of the time, the first one is the hardest one. And then you have to allow it to build momentum so that your movement becomes faster, easier, and achievable. And that's what priorities will do to you. They help you to build momentum. Number 9, the 9th signpost to success is flexible plan. Flexible plan. It's good to plan, but plans can also become a limitation, especially when we are not flexible with our plans. We decide one thing we want to do, and even when it is not possible to do it the way we want to do it, because it was our plan, we still want to do it the same way. You have to have a flexible plan. Especially in this time in the world when global changes are so fast and quick. You can't just have an idea 10 years ago that will work today. So your plans must be flexible. New laws come into force. New protocols come into force. Global environment changes. You may be in an export business, and all of a sudden budget is read. It changes the laws. Parliament passes a law. And all these factors change the factors that made you decide the first time what you have to do. So your plan must be flexible. It's good to be determined, but be flexible. Part of your mind should be set, another part should be open. Most of the time when I'm doing something, I have my main objective about what I want to do, but I have about 2 other alternatives I'm thinking through. So that if it doesn't work this way, I can consider the other alternatives. You must have a plan B and a plan C, always at the back of your mind. You don't implement A, B, C at the same time. You implement A. But if you hit a roadblock, B must come into shape or must come into practice. So you must have a flexible plan. Acts chapter 16, verses 7 to 9. This is the Apostle Paul, who determined to go to a certain place to preach the gospel. And every time he determined, he found roadblocks. And listen to how the Bible records it. It says after they had gone to Mysia, they tried to go to Bithynia, but the Spirit did not permit them. So passing by Mysia, they came down to Troas, and a vision appeared to Paul in the night. A man of Macedonia stood and pleaded with him, saying, "Come over to Macedonia and help us." Here you see a man who wants to do something. He has his plan. But then there are frustrations. He tries to go and there are hindrances. And then he has a call to go to a place he had not planned to go, and he obeys it. It's called flexible planning. He's determined, but he's also open to alternatives. If you're successful, you have to have that kind of thinking. Be determined, but be open to alternatives. Alternative plans. Not alternative in your principles, but alternative in your plans, the actions you want to take. Some of us, we hit, it's like a small toy car which is programmed to go forward. It goes forward. When it hits a wall, because it has been programmed to go forward, it hits the wall, it comes back and hits the wall, and comes back and hits the wall, and comes back and hits the wall, and comes back and hits the wall, because there's no programming in it to say every moment they are changing their minds. Be determined, but be still open, so that when you hit a roadblock for several times and you're not making the progress you want to make, you can consider alternatives. Alternatives that will lead you to the same place you're trying to get to. Not alternatives that will lead you totally far away from your real vision. So change is important. The only thing that is certain in life is change. Because change is the only change that never changes. There will always be change. Especially if you live in the 21st century. There will be change. The global community is very, very fast. And listen to me, Ghanaian businessmen. You can't think local. Even if your business is local, you must think global. Because global factors impact on your local business. You may be doing something here, and then all of a sudden the Chinese are producing it, and they dump your country with your product and knock you out of business. You have to be adaptable. Don't say, well, this is what my father gave me, this is how it was, this is how we used to do it, and do it all the time. No, the Chinese have come in, they've changed the equation. You can't kill them. There are over 1 billion of them. They won't die. They're going to be alive. What are you going to do with them? How are you going to survive with the Chinese competition? What are you going to do with the Indian competition? So change is important, and you have to adapt, and you have to be open. And how do you do that? Accept the inevitability of change. Accept that change is inevitable. When we say something is inevitable, it means it's there. It's always going to happen. Change is inevitable. Even in the church, change takes place. Some time ago, people only attended church, the church they were born into, and they died in that church. And if you remember, most churches had a cemetery right by. It indicated the philosophy of the church. You are born here, you will die here. And so when people were born, they said, this is my mother church. They stayed in that church until they died, and they were decently buried close by the church. These days, an average person will attend about 8 different churches in a lifetime. Some of you, this is about your 6th. You have 2 more to go. So I cannot pretend that the members I have in my church are going to be there all the time. I know that you will not be here all the time. So I can't have the mentality of a settler pastor in the past who thought his congregation will always be there. Even your children, you can't predict the church they will attend. Change. People used to attend the church closest to them. These times, because of cars and highways, people are able to drive distances to go to church. That's why you don't need to ring the church bell again, because the people are staying about 20 miles away from the church bell. Oh yeah, where I live, if we had a bell here and you rang it, there was no way I would hear it, because I live several miles away from this church. So change has rendered certain church cultures obsolete and impractical. And if you insist on doing it the old way, you will insist on digging your own grave. If change is happening in the church, then you business people are in big trouble. Yes. Some time ago, if you were a seamstress or you were a tailor, you had a lot of goods. And people came to you. This time, second-hand clothes and cheap imports are knocking all of you tailors out of business. You got to change. Don't change tailoring, but you have to change how you do it. If you want more information, consultancy. All right. Okay. Number 2. Don't complain when the game changes. Don't complain when the game changes. And that's one of the big problems we have in this country. People complain. It used to be like this. It's no longer like that. And we used to do it like that. It's no longer. In 1966. I said, why? I mean, aren't we moving forward? One of the things that I can understand is when people say, we want to develop Ghana to recover its past glory. I don't want the past glory of Ghana. I want the future glory. Not the past. Why can't we think in the future for a change? In Kwame Nkrumah's days, thank God for Kwame Nkrumah. I can't resurrect him. You can't resurrect him. He's dead and gone to his grave. Gone to his grave. We are alive and kicking. Don't complain when the game changes. Don't complain when the nations of the world change the games, or the WTO changes the game. We have to study the new game plan and work with the new game plan and find the loopholes in the new game plan and win with the new game plan. Can't always be complaining. Things are not the way as some time ago, the way people come to church and they stay in one church forever. These days people come to the church and they are going, and so what? They are going, so you have to adapt. Respond thoughtfully to new situations. And the operative word there is thoughtfully. Don't just respond because change. Things are changing, so change. Think it through. Look at the implications. Look at your strength. Look at what you can do. Look at how you can reposition yourself. Respond thoughtfully to new situations. Number 4. Make use of new information and technologies. All of you who are not computer literate, you are behind time. I thought I would say, I hear amen. All of you who are not computer literate, you are behind time. You are fossilized. You have no clue what's going on now. If you are not computer literate and you are above 60, I don't blame you. But if you are not computer literate and you are below 60, you are in big trouble. Even above 60, you can try to catch up, but if you've done a lot and you've built your lifestyle and your habits already. Some of you are in your 30s, in your 40s. You see a computer, you think it's a monster that will arrest you. You can't type. You have to write everything longhand. Hey, times have changed. These days, everybody must type. Everybody. Makola woman must type. Oh, yes. Go to other countries. Go to India. Farmers are using computers. Illiterate farmers, tomato sellers are selling with computers. And we are still putting the tomatoes on the floor. Listen to me. Life is not kind. And life has no favorites. If you don't learn to play the game properly, you are gone. Whether you are a hairdresser, you are a seamstress, be computer literate. You are a carpenter, carpentry with your computer. You don't do measurements and build chairs that are flying in different directions. Program your things well. Design them. Keep your blueprint well so you can always recall them from your computer. Learn how to design with AutoCAD so you can keep your designs and work on them. Every message I preach is in my computer. Every message. So I can always go back and work on them and add and subtract and refine. Every message I preach, I put it in PowerPoint. So I can always go and add this and take it out and improve it. The thing is, when I take an old message and I improve it and I preach it, you don't even see. So, yeah, I'm the only one who knows that this is the old, recycled, represented, rechristened. It's like Mercedes-Benz coming up with new models. It's the same old model. But they call this one is turbo, this one is this, and this one is that, and this one is that. C-class, E-class. It's all the same, my friend. So make use of new information and technologies. Number 10, 10 signposts. I was going to hit to 11. I don't think I can make it, so I'll stop at 10. You must follow the right path. Follow the right path. The fact that you must be open and flexible doesn't mean every path is right. You must follow the right path. Flexibility does not give you the permission to just take the least convenient option. No, you must follow the right path. And what are the factors? Okay, first let's look at the scripture verse. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 26. Ponder the path of your feet and let all your ways be established. Ponder the path of your feet. Look at where you are stepping. If you don't look at where you are stepping, you may step into things you don't want to step into. So watch where you are stepping. Calculate the consequences of your actions. 3 things you must consider in order to be on the right path. Be purposeful, be ethical, and the path must be useful. The path must be purposeful, it must be ethical. Being open does not mean go and be a crook. Follow the right path, be ethical. Be professionally ethical. The path must be useful. How do you do that? Deliberately choose your actions. Deliberately choose your actions. Don't just react. Don't just respond. Choose what you want to do. Think it through and choose it. If you want to drink water, think before you drink. If you want to eat food, think before you eat. Do you know if we thought really before we ate and drank, we'll make better choices? Because this food you are putting into your mouth, what is the caloric value? How many calories? Is it going to help your heart? Is it helping your blood pressure? So whilst it's going to your mouth, calculate the impact of this food to your system. Thoughtful actions. You don't just see the food and say, hey, this food is nice. Then you go and say, I'm sick. This is every day I'm sick. This is every day I'm sick. May the Lord have mercy upon all of us. We all make the same mistakes. So deliberately choose your actions. Stay focused on your vision. The right path is always the clear perspective you had, the vision you had. It's always there. The prize, the desirable prize. That's what you are. So even if you are choosing alternate paths, it must lead you to where you are going. Stay focused on your vision. Number 3, avoid easy shortcuts. Avoid easy shortcuts. Once in a while in life, there may be a credible shortcut to doing something. But most of the time, shortcuts are very, 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 very dangerous. If you want money, don't go for shortcuts. Don't pyram your money. Don't R5 your money. Don't be in a pyramid scheme. Don't go and stake lotto and hope to succeed. How can you ever hope to be successful with lottery? Research has shown that Only 2% of people who win huge amounts in lottery, and I'm not even talking about Ghanaian lottery, I'm talking about big lotteries in other countries, only 2% are able to retain their wealth after 5 years. Because you see, your problem is not a money problem, it's a mind problem. If you don't think right, we can dump all the money, and we're talking about people who win things like $30 million and lose it in no time. Because if you don't have the skills to manage $10, how can you manage 30 million? So lottery is not going to bail you out of poverty. Gambling will not bail you. Raffles will not bail you out of poverty. And these days, everybody's doing raffle and lottery and raffle and call this and you get this and call that and you get it. And most of us, we think that one day, we too will be well. Life is not a gamble, my friends. It's purposeful and it is long term. So don't go for shortcuts. If you want to be great, don't go for shortcuts. If you want to be recognized, don't go for shortcuts. Don't just go shouting your name and promoting yourself and thinking if you promote yourself big enough, you will become great. I can guarantee you can promote yourself to a position, but if you don't have the skills to retain that position, you will fall like Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And all the king's men and the king's chariots men could not put Humpty together again. If you promote yourself, you'll be Humptied. And you'll be dumped. And nobody can put you together. You don't go for shortcuts. You follow the path and pay the price. Live by the principle of sowing and reaping. Live by the principle of sowing and reaping. That means there are actions and reactions, choices and consequences. It is called reciprocity. If you are lazy, poverty will reciprocate. If you have bad human relations, you will reap something. It's called sowing and reaping. Don't think you will get away from the consequences of your actions. If you're a young man who's become rich and you think that pursuing sex is your greatest priority at this time, so you go around spreading your money to all the girls in town, remember, the money you are spreading is money that is leaving your pocket. And some of you have business opportunities that you think will always be there. But in life, there are open sesames and closed sesames. Doors open and doors close. Nothing is permanent. Today it's a big contract. Tomorrow you will lose it. So whatever you have today, you must invest it for greater promise wisely in the future. Don't waste it and think the door will be there. It will not be there. That's why you will always meet people who will say, I used to be rich, but imridi adandani. Life changes, time changes. Imridi adandani. That's if you are pim adandani. Idi adandani. Imridi adandani. My wife is a caprice. Idi adandani. Imri. So somebody will tell you, oh, I used to have a whole business. I used to have trucks and I used to have this. But they never thought that another business could wipe out their business. Or a new technology could make their business obsolete. A new idea could make everything they have worked for obsolete. Do you know some time ago there were no cars, and the only mode of transport in some of the developed economies was horses and chariots. So if you had a horse and a chariot business, or you even had a good horse whip business, providing accessories for owners of chariots, and then one day somebody invents a car. The day you read that in the newspaper, count your blessings, name them one by one. That's the end of your blessing, because that car is going to replace your business. And until if you're not able to reconfigure your factory to produce cars, you are out in the next 5 years. But if you saved what you had well, you can now reinvest in the car business. And if you don't have the technology, you can buy stocks into the car business and relax and let your money work for you. But if you use your money chasing girls, you go to Akosia Mansion and say, Akos, life is hard these days. So, and you know, the house I built for you 15 years ago, can I use it as collateral for a loan? Akos, oh, my mother is staying there. Oh, but it's my house. Oh, you gave it to me. That's the end. Because Akosia Mansa also wisdom. Turn to a man sitting by you and tell him, hey man, be wise. Not the women, talk to the men. Be smart. Be smart. Amen. Well, I was going to hit on number 11, but my time is up and I can't go to number 11. So let's do a summary of what we have done so far. Let's do a summary. Number 1, you must have suitable posture. Number 2, a definite purpose. Number 3, clear perspectives. Number 4, desirable prize. Number 5, inspiring passion. Number 6, mental precision. Number 7, deep principles. Number 8, objective priorities. Number 9, flexible plan. Number 10, the right path. We are almost halfway through your pathway to success. And I believe that if we don't only become hearers only, but become doers, we can take our life to a new level. Because God will always give us opportunity. Hearing this message is an opportunity from God. It's an opportunity to redirect, reposition, and drive your life in a better way. Amen. Well, my friends, I trust that by this time you're beginning to get some direction as to how to walk your way through the pathway of success. As I said, we are almost halfway through. We still have about 11 more principles to cover. And by the time we are through, I think you have enough tools in your hand to make your life more meaningful, more directional, and more achievable. So that when you look at all the things that are in front of you, if you scope out your life, you don't get confused and you don't get distracted because there's so many things and you don't know how to make the progress. By these teachings, you should be able to look out and say, well, you know, I can start from here and I can move on there. I can make this kind of progress. I have to make this kind of adjustment, and that life is possible and success is possible. That's all I want to teach you. That success is not just something that is the preserve of a few people, but all of us can learn to do things that will make us more successful. Well, once again, it's my joy being with you. I'll be with you again next week. I'm Pastor Mensah Otabil. Shalom, peace, and life to you.